What's the first thing you think of when you hear Bandai Namco? You might think of their arcade classics like Pac-Man or Galaga. You might think of their work on games like Smash Bros. If you were like me and you had like 6 good Wii games and like 30 other subpar ones, you might know them for things like Go Vacation or Fishing Resort. Tekino Tetsujin? I don't know.
One of the more popular franchises, though, is one that I don't really see as many people talking about nowadays. It has its fans, but it isn't really brought up much. I'm talking about a quirky little series of games called Katamari Damacy.
Katamari Damacy is a very strange game. Created by Keita Takahashi, Katamari is known for its fun characters, art style, music, and odd control scheme. Before we get into the game, I want to talk about its development a little. If you want to know the full story, I highly recommend checking out Rewind Arcade's retrospective about the franchise. It goes into detail on each game, and it's a great watch. I'll leave a link to it in the description. Katamari's development revolves around this guy, Keita Takahashi. Takahashi was an artist and sculptor who joined Namco in 1999. While there, he worked on a number of smaller projects, one of them being Action Drive, a game similar to Sega's Crazy Taxi, but with more spy-based elements. Action Drive ended up getting scrapped, but the game's characters will later be seen in Katamari as the King, Queen, and Prince of all Cosmos. Katamari didn't begin development until 2001. Takahashi's goal with this game was to make something that had never been done before, something new, something different than other games on the market, but still easy to get behind. Takahashi wanted to create something that'd make people smile and laugh. What he ended up making? Katamari Damacy was released on March 18th, 2004 on the PlayStation 2 in Japan and sold pretty well, selling over 100,000 units. Not amazing, but that's nothing to sneeze at, especially for a new IP. Namco originally wasn't even going to give it an American release. They didn't really think it'd have much of an audience in the West. Releasing it would be too much of a financial risk. But after a very popular showing at 2004's Game Developers Conference, Namco came to and said, you know what, let's give it an American release. Gear up. And the game hit North America in September of that year. The version I'll be looking at is the 2018 remaster, Katamari Damacy Reroll. And you know me, I'm a slut for anything that plays Wario. We're looking at the Switch version. But enough of that. Is the game good? I need an adult. Katamari's story is a simple one. Your dad, the king of all cosmos, has accidentally destroyed all the stars in the galaxy, and he tasks you, his son, with doing the dirty work of rebuilding constellations. There's also these cutscenes with these geometric fucks, the Hoshino family. They aren't really characters exactly. I think they're supposed to represent the everyman, reacting to all the weird stuff that's happening in the game. It opens with the kids watching TV, they hear that all the stars have disappeared, they go to see their dad's rocket launch, along the way they see some silly shit. Mom doesn't notice, the launch gets called off, they're on the moon now. Done. Katamari's story is odd, but then again, I have no clue how you'd go about storyboarding a game like this. For what it is though, it's cute and fun. And you know what else is fun? The gameplay. Katamari's gameplay is super addictive. Once you start playing, it's pretty tough to put it down. In order to rebuild constellations, you roll up objects with a Katamari. Some objects are too big to be rolled up though, so you have to roll up smaller objects to make your Katamari grow. Once it's big enough, you'll be able to roll up more objects. You have to be careful though. Bumping into objects will knock stuff off the Katamari. This isn't a big deal when you're starting out, but as it gets bigger and bigger, you're gonna be bumping into everything and you're gonna lose a lot more stuff. And if you're able to roll up a big enough Katamari before time runs out, you can move on to the next level. As the game progresses, the levels grow larger and larger. On the first one, you're rolling up things in a living room. On the last, you're rolling up continents. Each one also has these presents that unlock little outfits for the prince. They're cute and they make the game more replayable. I like them. Each level also has the game's cousins, relatives of the prince. You unfortunately can't play as them in the main game, but you can in the multiplayer mode. I'm sure this mode is a lot of fun, but I've never played it. Because if you have someone over and you ask them if they want to play the multiplayer in Katamari Damacy, they're gonna ask, what's Katamari Damacy? And then you explain the game to them. And then you look like a loon. There's also these extra levels where you're supposed to roll up specific objects. Like there's this one where you have to roll up crowns, one where you roll up twins, one where you roll up fish.
What the hell?
And then there's these weird levels where you can only roll up one of a certain object. For instance, there's this one where you're supposed to roll up a huge Katamari, but you can only roll up one cow. Just one. If you roll up a cow, the level ends. The same thing applies to this bear level. Roll up a Katamari, if you touch a bear, the level ends. I don't like these levels very much. I think they're fucking dumb. I'm not playing the game because I want to be cautious about when I'm rolling up. Oh, no. I'm playing the game because I want to roll up as many things as possible and feel massive. At least with the fish level, you're still rolling up a ton of things. You're just encouraged to roll up more fish. But when I play these things, I'm always worried that I'm gonna accidentally bump into a bear and ruin everything. That's not fun, Keita! Aside from those levels though, the rest of the game is rock solid. Katamari Damacy is one of those games that I revisit all the time because the gameplay really is just that damn good. It has a super addictive gameplay loop and it's a ton of fun. And part of what makes Katamari so fun are the controls, and that's because they suck. Katamari easily has one of the weirdest control schemes I've ever seen in a game. You use the two control sticks to move your Katamari around. Each stick is supposed to be like one of the prince's arms. If you move both sticks to the left, the Katamari will roll to the left. If you move both sticks to the right, wouldn't you know, the Katamari will roll to the right. Starting out, the controls clunky as hell. I kept bumping into everything. It was a mess. But the more I kept playing, the more I got used to them. And even though I'm better with them now, playing the game is still a mess. Even when I play now, I'm constantly bumbling around, bumping into things, trying to steady the Katamari. This sounds about as fun as hemorrhoids, but trust me when I say they are the funnest hemorrhoids you will ever have. The controls may suck, but that's what's fun about them. They add this frantic energy to the game that I love. I wasn't really a fan at first, but the more I kept playing, the more I grew to love them. There's this odd charm to Katamari's controls. They might be kind of a hard sell at first, but if you keep playing, I'm sure they'll grow on you. And if you really hate them that much, then there is an option to play with just one stick. But if you ask me, it's just not the same. I don't know, man. They work, but the game isn't nearly as fun with them. Also, shifting from left to right doesn't feel as smooth as it does with the regular controls. There's also motion controls. I don't like them. Also, it would be stupid of me not to talk about this game's music, because Jesus, fuck, it is quite good. The soundtrack is made up of a bunch of J-pop songs, and if it's not your thing, it's really not your thing, but if it is your thing, oh man! Katamari easily has one of my favorite soundtracks in gaming. You got classics like Prince and the Moon, Katamari Mambo, Katamari on the Rocks, Lonely Rolling Star. The soundtrack is so damn good that it made me start listening to more J-pop, and what do you know, I like J-pop now. This game has ruined me. The songs are so bubbly and catchy, they make playing the game a joy. Katamari wouldn't be anywhere near as charming as it is if the songs weren't such a bop. They give the game this fun, exuberant energy that a lot of games nowadays lack. Katamari Damacy is unlike any other game I've played. Its addictive gameplay, dumb controls, and fantastic soundtrack make it one of the most unique gaming experiences I've ever had and probably will ever have. It's really short, too. You can do all the main objectives in like 5 hours. Yeah, it's a weird game, but it knows that, and it's proud of it, and I can respect that. But Katamari also has this sense of joy that you rarely see in games nowadays. It's one of those games that I can boot up when I'm having a rough day. Katamari Damacy isn't quite perfect, but what it is a fun, happy little game, and I think we need more games like that. It's so infectiously happy that playing it makes me feel happy, and that's exactly what Takahashi set out to make from the start. Good job, man.
感じる。コスモを感じるわ。金座が横歩きで帰ってきたのね。あれした。
Huh.